What's up, guys? Today we are going to do another review. We're going to switch it up a little bit from mods, though, and we're going to get into something that I tend to delve pretty deeply into, and that is atomizers. We're going to start with one of my favorite little squonking addies that's relatively available. I've been using it for quite some time, the Origen Little. So we'll go down to the desk, we'll break it down, I'll show you all the pieces, we'll rebuild it, and then we'll come back up and talk about it. Shitty cloud transition time. Alright, and we're down at the table with the Origen Little. Here's the Little by itself. A few facts about it. This is a 16mm diameter addy. It's 17.3 millimeters tall, this way. And it has a whole host of airflow adjustment. And let me just kind of show you how that works. You just turn this a little bit, and then you can rotate this center piece around here. And if you see that airflow changing as we rotate, and then you can just pop it down and screw this back down once you get set. It is a single coil setting and a dual coil setting for, I'm going to grab my tweezers here to show, 1.5 millimeter, which is a tiny little hole right there, 2 millimeter, or sorry, 1.2 millimeter, 2 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter, and this has a set for single coil or dual coil the whole way around with those airflow options. Let's take a look at the deck, and then you can kind of see how you would single coil it or dual coil it, and then we'll actually go into a build, which should be interesting. I've never done a build on camera before, never even attempted to do a build on camera before. I just usually snap pictures when I build something. So here we have the deck. This Evil Reaper base makes it really easy to pull things together, and pull off top caps. So here's the deck, and what you'll notice immediately on this deck, and let's see if I can get a little bit of a zoom up here for you. Yeah, there we go, perfect. So if you see, these guys go crossways. So the coils actually kind of go in diagonal. So from here to back here. And then the other side can go in from here to back here. Then these little grub screws fit down over the top. I have the hex key for it. I do not know the size though. I'm very unsure of the size of that hex key. And let's bottom feed pin in there. This guy gets a lot of use from me. And just so you get a closer look at the way those airflow holes are situated. You can see the dual coil and the single coil the whole way around there. So it comes with a drip tip. I do not have that sitting in front of me. Honestly, I don't know where it is. I don't even know if I would know what drip tip it was at this point. I don't know that I use the stock drip tip on anything. And it comes with a non-bottom feed pin for the bottom, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So with that, let's jump to a rebuild. Alright, I think we have everything out on the desk that we are going to need for the build. Now bear in mind, your build may vary. I vape a little bit, I suppose you could say weird, as far as the times of vaping go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of our Canthal. I use 27 gauge, that's my preference. 26 is a little slow to heat for me. 28 is a little bit thin. 27 is kind of that perfect little sweet spot for me. I also tend to, especially on these smaller addies, wrap around a 2.5 millimeter coil. So we are going to take this in this little coil master winder here, and we are going to wrap a coil. Nice and simple. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and an 8 and a 9 and a 10. Now I do want you to remember that this guy will take a beefy coil, because that deck, while only 16 millimeter, has a pretty decent spread between the posts. So that's absolutely something to keep in mind when you're building this up, is you can put a pretty beefy coil in it. Let's see here. Let's fix this side. There we go. We're also going to want this about as close to the deck as humanly possible. So the next thing that I do in this case is I cut one of these leads shorter by a bit, just so that I can fish one in and then fish the other. Now you may ask why I'm coming in this direction. And that's because I had this on the Evo a minute ago, and this is important from a squonking sense because I over squonk. I had this in the Evo a second ago, and the coil has to go this way so that it doesn't flood when I tip it to my face, when I tip the mod to my face. So I've got to build to that coil position. So this side is through. Now, in most cases, we can pop this guy off just to keep our coil together, like so. Throw this out. This is actually really hard to do on camera. And now we have a coil put in there. Now we're going to back it off a little bit. Now we're going to shove this bastard right in here, pretty much as far as we can go. And we're going to try to keep the coil fresh here. Now I have a little pair of rubber pliers that I'm not opposed to using, just to grab a hold of this coil and tighten it. Make sure that there's no slack. Make sure that nothing's sticking up. So now we'll lock this bit down with the Allen key. I have no idea how much of this is actually showing up on camera, by the way. I would hope that most of the people watching this kind of get the general fundamentals of building a coil. So there we have that side locked down. Now we're going to screw it in. Again, I have no idea what size Allen key this is. I have a box of them. I just find one that matches. Bam! Straighten that guy out right there. And we have a coil. Now we're going to put it on our device so that we can burn it a little bit and make some fire. There's really two things that you can do at this stage to kill these wires. You can cut them, or you can twist them. I'm just going to cut them in the essence of time. And because I'm not really at a shortage for room on this build. So let's crank you back off of here. Move this out of the way. Grab my lovely Art and Mod Evo. Screw this down. The rest of the build we will probably do on this mod. So now we strum and we pulse and we do all that fun stuff. So let's see, is that relatively in focus? I think so. So see how that's not all nice and glowy fresh? Give it a good strum. Hit it again. There we go. That's that nice glow that we're looking for. Sound like fucking Bob Ross. Give it another nice strum. Happy coil, happy coil, happy coil. Alright, so now we are at the cotton stage of this build. Use whatever you like. It's entirely up to you. I use pretty much one brand of cotton and one brand only, and that's Chatto's. That's my preference, that's what I like. So we're going to take and we're going to cut a little nice tiny strip here. Let's do it on camera, that would probably be beneficial. Probably about that wide. You want it snug, not over tight on that coil. That's the goal. Take this. If anybody's curious about why my preference is Chatto's while I'm doing this, honestly I get better flavor from it, it works better, it wicks better, it seems to hold more juice and take up less space. I encourage everybody to at least try it out. I realize that it's expensive cotton, but if you can, if you do anarchist and all that stuff, treat yourself to some nice cotton. Give it a shot. Maybe it's not your thing. Maybe it is, though. So now, we've got wick in here. We're going to take our tweezers, we're going to bend this guy up underneath, grab it from the other side, and pull through. Like so. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. I don't know if this is the best way to do this. This is the way that worked best for me. I basically make almost a little bowl of cotton in here around the squonk pin, and then squonk around it. Now you can see the squonk pin open up. I'm going to pull this back a little bit. Now we will juice just to make everything a little bit more malleable. We'll juice this up and then position our cotton and make any trimmings that we need. I don't think we'll need to trim. I could be wrong though. We might need a little bit of a trim. Disclaimer, I am in no way a pro builder. I don't even use big spools of wire, if I'm completely honest. I like the little ones. I just do what works for me. And I like it. If you like it, fucking right. If you don't, hey, there's a million different ways to do this shit. So, there we go. Now you see, if you look in there, you see how we have that little hole in there for the squonking pin? That means we can press, squeeze, and juice. When we hit, sick as tits. Not really. That's what I like. And then we take our cap with one air hole, since this is a single coil build, and we pop it on the top. I tend to sit at the 1.5 millimeter air hole. That's my preference. Put that in front, direct on coil, and you are done. Let's go back up and give it a vape and see how bad I fucked up. And we're back, and this is vaping a fucking treat, I tell you. I was in pretty dire need of a rebuild, which is why I decided to shoot the video for this Addy. And it's like a whole new fucking atomizer. I'm so pleased right now. I'm back in vaping happiness. So let's talk about this guy a little bit. This guy has been a staple of my vaping career since shortly before the time I started squonking. This is kind of the Addy that I test all my other Addies next to. This has become one of my favorite Addies on the market, hands down, by far, no questions asked. Norbert has always put out really good stuff. The Origen 22mm stuff is good. All of his stuff is good. This, to me, is exceptional. It has just this wide range of options, like all of his stuff. It's very customizable. I mean, you can do 5mm air in, or you can do 1.2mm air in. That's a pretty wide range, and it vapes good in both of those ranges, which is rare. Usually when you find something that does the big, it doesn't do the small, or vice versa. This guy does pretty well. I will tell you, though, if you push the power, it's going to get hot as fuck, because it's small and the coil is very close to the outside. There's not a lot of room in there, which makes it a very hot vape. To me, that makes it a very enjoyable vape. To you, it might not. You might like your vape a little bit cooler, so that's something to know. One of the downsides of this guy, though, is that unless you're squonking with it, it's fucking pointless. It really is. It's, to me, absolutely fucking pointless, because it basically takes about 3 drags, and then you're fucked. Empty, got a drip, blah, blah, blah. And that gets irritating. But he has fixed that, and we didn't talk about this, and I don't know that I'll do a whole review of this, because this is kind of another staple piece for me, and I've had several of these as well. This is the Origen Tiny Tank top piece. It basically replaces the normal top cap, and if I grab this piece here, and then slow feeds the e-liquid down onto the cotton. Right up in here. Goes on just like that, 1.5 mil of e-juice, still 16 mil, works a treat. Absolute treat. This is what I use on my non-squonk mods. He also has a 22mm one coming out. I don't know that I want to say it's the best looking thing I've seen, but it's interesting and I'll probably give it a shot. What else do we have that's good? You have multiple airflow options. It's small, it's hot. One of the really big upsides of this is that his products are accessible. They're not horrendously expensive, and they're not horrendously hard to get your hands on. This guy will set you back about 99 bucks, 100 bucks. First hand. Second hand, it will set you back. I'm going to shut my email up now. Second hand, it will set you back probably 60 to 80 if you're into the second hand buying market. But overall, it's relatively inexpensive and relatively easy to get a hold of. They circulate quite a bit. I've bought most of mine through VapinArt. I'm a big fan of VapinArt. I like VapinArt a lot. Shut up, phone. Sorry. This fucking Lost Dots is just all kinds of noises, fucking shit going on. My apologies. So, do I recommend this Addy? If you squonk, I absolutely 100% recommend this Addy. I probably don't recommend any Addy more than I recommend this Addy. If you vape more like I do. It's good still with restricted lung, but honestly there's better restricted lung Addies out there, the Narda being one of them. The Narda is just a superior restricted lung Addy. This is one of the best mouth-to-lung Addies out there that vapes very well restricted lung, and it's very easy to get a hold of. I suggest you at least try it if you are a squonker. If you are not, I suggest that you try the Origen Tiny Tank. Yeah, Origen Little, Origen Tiny Tank, because the 1.5 mil will make it so that you don't have to drip every 3 drops, and you pretty much get the same experience. It doesn't change. I don't know that I have anything really bad to say about this Addy. I really don't. I have very little bad to say about it, and I have very little other than praise for it, because it really has been just a staple atomizer for me. And I almost give it the highest recommendation that I possibly can as a squonking Addy and as an Addy in general. Let me have a vape and see if I think of anything else. No, it's awesome. You should get one. I'm gonna get out of here now and go do something else with my life for a while. Peace. Or I could rip off Damien. Chafe. Sorry, Damien.